Is this because you put your phone number on records?
Maybe.
I know you've gotten shows like that.
I have. That's how I met Chris Moore.
That's true. So John always puts his phone number on records, which I think is really admirable and very old school of him. And I think Chris Moore called him once because he had a band drop off a show and someone had one of your records there, right?
Yeah, so I think it was the World Downfall Magruder Grind tour in like 2004 or 5 or 6. I don't know. It was a long time ago. And then I was like under a desk in the school that I worked at, like working on the computers, and like my phone rings and it's like, "Hey, is this John?" And I was like, "Yeah, who's this?" "Hey, this is Chris Moore from Magruder Grind. You guys want to play a show tonight in Philly?" "Yes, we do, Chris." And so like I agreed to it and then called the rest of my band and was like, "Guys, we have to play a show in Philly tonight with Magruder Grind and World Downfall from Japan." And then our drummer was like, "No, I can't." And our bass player was like, "Fuck it, I'll play drums." And we played the show, and it was not good.
Wait, so you didn't have your original drummer?
No, our bass player was playing drums,
gosh.
and I played guitar, and it was as much of a disaster as any other early Chainsaw show. If anything, our bass player was a better drummer than our first drummer was.
Right.
So.
World Downfall were so good.
They were fucking awesome.
Oh my gosh, I saw them once. Yeah. It was fantastic.
It had to be the same tour.
No, I think it was at Obscene Extreme.
Okay. Well, I forget you travel the world.
Yeah, I travel the world for shows. That's my
Vanessa's backdoor bragging about her frequent flyer miles.
I've never been in any notable bands, just travel to see notable bands, being a poser. But no, I didn't get to see that tour. I don't know what was going on. I was probably like into boys or something.
I think you were in Cleveland at the time, so they probably didn't play Cleveland.
I think it was super East Coast.
Yeah.
I think it was 2006.
I think it probably was.
Wasn't it the same year the Unholy Grave was around?
No, I feel like it was the year before that.
So it was 2005 because that was 06.
Because when we played with Unholy Grave that first time they came the first time they came to the East Coast, to my knowledge, Ben was drumming for us already, so that would have been 2006.
Dude, I just realized something. Terrorizer World Downfall is my favorite album for riffs, for grind, right? World Downfall is named after that.
You just put that together?
No, I just put it together that they're a fantastic band.
Oh.
And there's no need to ever bash them for having the name World Downfall. Like, I never think ill of them. Yet, I think ill of bands like Misery Index that named their band after an epic record, and they are terrible. Like, they can't, bring it.
So, we got kicked off of a show once when Bathtub Shitter was playing in, 2007 or 8, maybe, so that Misery Index could play, because it was, when Bathtub Shitter, for a brief hot second, I think maybe signed a Relapse and put out a Misery Index split.
Oh, wow.
So we were, on the show, and then in young Chainsaw fashion, we talked a bunch of shit on the internet and burned some bridges, because I think Ben responded to the message that said we couldn't play anymore with, "That's cool, we'll all be there in our $30 Relapse long sleeves."
Oh my gosh, awesome.
Yeah. Whatever.
So you're kicked off the show.
Yeah, we were kicked off the show before we talked shit, but
yeah,
I'm sure that wasn't helping any matters out. It still went. Bathtub Shitter were pretty good.
Yeah, Misery Index were Misery Index.
Well, I went and got soup.
Yeah, during their set.
Yeah, I was not around to stick around for it.
All right.
The only other time I've ever crossed paths with Misery Index was at a show in New York where we got paid a lot more money than we were probably deserved, because I guess Misery Index packed the house out.
That was at Vitus, right?
Vitus, yeah.
Yeah, I remember I was there. I just don't understand why bands name themselves after other bands and they can't bring it. That bothers me, and it's been a struggle for me to think of a band that's comparable. Not that World Downfall are comparable to Terrorizer at all, but they're a fantastic band.
They're a good
I
band.
would never talk ill of them.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah. You kind of can't win. The best case is Endless Blockade. They don't sound shit like Gizm, but it's a Gizm reference.
Yeah, that's true.
But they don't sound anything like it. So your best bet is to just kind of throw out a thing that you don't sound at all like.
Pick a totally different genre.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's like if I fucking, oh yeah, this is my band, Clones of Dr. Funkenstein.
There
Like,
you go. I guess it gets you Google hits, but
yeah,
I mean, bands have been doing this for ages. It's very difficult for me to process it. It doesn't make sense.
it's easy though. That's why, because you don't have to come up with anything of your own.
No, that's true. And then I guess people have a reference point, so then they want to see your band.
Yeah, you get an instant like fan base boost just because of like, oh, like that's like when I first heard that Misery Index was a thing, I was like, oh wow, and then like somebody immediately on the message board where I was exclaiming, I have to look into this, was just like, don't bother.
Don't bother.
Yeah.
I mean, but I always judge bands based on names. So do you. We were talking about this before. Like, we were talking about the band Bob Plant and how we both had not checked them out because of the name, because we just thought it was going to be like Midwest grind worship from like the West Coast, and that's exactly what it is. But
confirmed via a 15-second YouTube video we watched.
yes, but the drummer's really good.
Yep.
And I would see them. Like, I would definitely go and see. If they were playing New York tomorrow, I would be there. Like,
Yeah.
I would absolutely support that. But it's not something that I have to actively check out. Like, I already know what it's about based on the name. And that it's pretty judgmental. I try to not be judgmental, but I guess I am in those ways.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of bands like that. I guess the band that you played for me earlier, what was their name? It starts with a C. And I was like, you were like, oh, it's a member of IRF. And I was like, I love IRF.
Corbata.
That's why you want to listen to this band.
But Corbata is fucking great.
Yeah, they're all right.
Okay, look.
It sounds like a lot of other European shit.
But they're not from Europe.
I know.
Whatever, they're awesome. IRF rules. At least we can agree on that.
IRF does rule.
Everyone should listen to IRF.
Most people don't know who they are.
No, they're stupid.
And they should. But it's just one of those things. I think, like, there's probably, like, 10 people I know that know who IRF are.
Well, if the 10 people who listen to this aren't the 10 people who know who IRF is, then
don't give us that much credit. There's, like, 3 people listening to this.
Then we'll have done the you know.
But we can provide a sample of their music here.
Okay.
I'm playing with this sticky hand that John got. You know those, like, sticky hands from gumball machines? I guess Guitar Center sells these.
They call them moon gels. They sell them for like multiple dollars a piece, yet it is the same goddamn thing as a quarter machine sticky hand.
And what do you put them on the cymbals and like?
Yeah, I mean just kind of drums in general. They kind of like cut down on unwanted resonance and stuff. I don't know really what I'm talking about, but I was at a real studio once and I saw the dude actually used the moon gel things, and I was just like, this is a fucking sticky hand thing. And then I was at another studio and the dude was using sticky hands, and I was like, dude, yeah. And he was like, yeah, fuck paying for moon gels. And I was like,
that's the
fuck
hack.
yeah. Right, yeah.
Sticky hands are the moon gels.
So yeah, if you've got a studio in your basement like I do that isn't that good, you can get a bag of 50 sticky hands for the price of one moon gel.
There you go. If anything, people are going to learn good tips from this podcast.
Full of tips.
Full of hacks. Full of tips. I think we need a food break.
Okay.
Are you hungry?